Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan, and it's time for more of our favorite 100 superhero movies of all time list. Boy, we're just blowing through this, aren't we, Austin? It's part 6. We're not even to the halfway point yet. And here's my sidekick, Austin, as always. Hello, Austin.
Probably won't even be to the halfway point by the end of this.
Yeah, probably not. Oh, I'm going to try to fix your box here, Austin. You're like,
oh, no.
I can't decide if you're like slouching or if I just need to drop this a little bit. Somebody's lazy. It's me or you.
I'm not looking at me. Oh.
Or are you not? I've got it screen shared where you can.
No, I haven't zoomed in. I always zoom it in.
You, in fact, do have the power, though.
I do have the power.
You're just like He-Man. oh, you went to the Transformers plays. Yeah. I went to something arguably more superhero, but it depends on who you ask. So tonight we're going to start on number 65. We finished with our 66, which I still would like to officially flip with my 86 or whatever it was, and trade out Two-Face, Batman versus Two-Face for Batman the Long Halloween, because I don't know what I was smoking when I put that at 66, but it's far too high. And arguably Two-Face was too low, and also getting a 66 movie in the 66 slot is simply correct. I don't know what I was thinking.
I at least got a Batman movie in there. And the Batman also does have like a 66 sounding theme later on as it goes.
It does, yeah.
So.
And both of those intros are good.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat that they had two good themes, because that never happens.
No.
You know, you look at something like Death Note, it's like, why in the world would you ever replace that theme? And then you just replaced it with and
I guess like another good one would be the Swamp Thing show.
Okay, let's go ahead and get right into this, shall we? We're going to see how far we can get tonight. We keep having to start real late because we're having to do these after other shows, so I tend to not be able to make it more than an hour. But we'll see, even if we only go an hour, if maybe we'll get lucky and we get more than 5. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Austin, I'm, as we go, just more and more curious to see what things get higher on your list, because we have such different lists.
Yeah, and I feel like...
He's making a face, folks.
No, I'm looking at my list, and I'm like, I feel like I'm starting to get into some heavy hitters.
You're starting to get into stuff where we're going to nod more often than raising an eyebrow.
Yeah, why not?
Or are we going to have more things where it's like, but still that low?
There are definitely going to be things on my list that you go, really, that low?
That low? You know what? I'm going to have that too, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, I'm looking at one that's going to happen in the next 10 or 15 that is probably in your top 10 or 15.
Oh, okay.
That for me is like 55. So I mean, like, we'll have this going both ways. Mm-hmm. Welcome, folks. Thanks for watching live. Feel free to throw in comments and interact with us as we move along. I expect most of the interaction to be Boo Austin, what in the world was that choice? And now we're going to find out what Austin's number 65 is.
My number 65 is Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows.
Which I've never seen. So we now
Oh,
have another movie that is technically, or that we count as superhero. We've always said those feel like superhero movies, or at least that first one, because that's the one I've seen.
and this is one that I think could have gone higher or lower depending on a rewatch, but it's been too long. Um, I think the second one, while still good, is quite a bit of a step down from the first one. The main thing being it doesn't really have like any sort of detective mystery.
So I'm calling it the first movie's in his top 40, folks.
I- the big thing that movie has is A, Downey is really great, and B, the guy that plays Moriarty is amazing, and the two of them bouncing off each other is always great.
I need to finally watch that. Because I
Their
was going to ask you how their Moriarty is.
their big climactic fight is done entirely in their heads, and it's amazing. I don't know if you remember from the first one, they do the thing with like where it goes into his head and he like plans out the fight where he's like, okay, I'm gonna do like a left hit, and then I'm gonna like hit him in the knee. Um, the big Sherlock Holmes versus Moriarty fight is Sherlock's like, okay, I'm gonna punch him, and then I'm gonna kick him, and then Moriarty's like, I see what you're doing. I don't think so. I block that kick, and then it just like goes back and forth.
That
It's
sounds really anime to me.
it's hilarious and awesome. And then when they actually fight, it's like that. Like it happens in like a split second. Uh, it's really good. Um, yeah, I don't know. I really like those movies. I think they're pretty good. They're my first real experience with Sherlock Holmes, so I'm like a little biased. I know some people think they're too actiony, uh, and I agree with the second one. But
And I only think they're too actiony if it's like the only Sherlock Holmes thing you ever look at. But there's so many different adaptations of that's a valid way to go. Sure, just make him a superhero this time. Why not?
yeah, it's basically like here's Batman.
Yeah, my problem with that first movie isn't there's too much action. They decided to make a superhero movie. That's fine. I can take it on its terms.
Yeah.
I just found the action scenes to go on too long. So it's not that
That's
it's too
fair.
actiony. I just thought it had pacing issues. And you like Gore Verbinski, so you probably don't care as much. But
Well, that's not Gore Verbinski.
I didn't say it was. I'm just saying
Oh,
that it's
sorry.
that sensibility where, like,
gotcha.
I have that issue with Gore Verbinski movies where I'm like, I'm looking at my watch because the action scenes go too long. So because you're a fan of him, you probably don't mind that as much.
That's fair. No, and Guy Ritchie's a weird director in that he will make some really good movies, and then he'll be like, okay, now I'm gonna make like the Disney remake of Aladdin, get some money, and then I'm gonna go off and make like 6 really good small movies, and then come back and do a Disney remake of Hercules. So it's like he knows how to play the system.
So the correct choice for Downey after he was done with ostensibly with MCU would have been a third one of those instead of Doolittle, right?
Well, they've been talking about it for like forever. I think it's still in development hell.
I wonder if that'll ever happen. No,
I don't know. I feel like at this point the ship sailed.
you'd have to do it as like a legacy thing at this point, which would be really weird for a trilogy to finally come back and do another one. It's like, he's old now. Can he still be a superhero, Sherlock Holmes?
Well, yeah, because the last one came out in 2011. Like it comes
God.
out before Avengers.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
So you'd
No,
only
it's
even
crazy.
seen him. Well, you'd seen him play Iron Man twice by that point.
Well, and the first thing I see him in is Natural Born Killers.
No, I just mean everybody
As-
seeing Avengers.
sorry.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm because for a second I was like, oh, yeah, and he only played Iron Man one. No, Iron Man 2 had come out by then.
Yeah, no, he'd only played Iron Man twice.
Austin, my number 65 is Superman Man of Tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm sure is way higher on your list. And I like a lot. That's another one of those that I've seen a couple times, and it's just been a while. So maybe it would go a little higher if I had just watched it right before this. But I liked that movie enough that I said you could take almost that exact screenplay and make it live action and have a pretty good start to a DC universe or a Superman or just a Superman universe. I like the animation in that, well enough. The voice cast is really good, but that script is just quite good, and it kind of got us back to a more traditional Superman that we had been kind of longing for a long time, while still modernizing it. It kind of split the middle, where it doesn't go full tilt to like in Earth One place. But it does what that does in that it kind of modernizes it a bit while not like losing the core values, and letting Clark Kent still be Clark Kent. Their Lois is really good. What they do with Parasite is fun. I like the ending where he basically just talks the villain down.
He's like Godzilla by the end of that movie too. Like he like talks down Godzilla at the end.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of sad that they built their whole shared universe around that, and it never gets any better than that, or even quite reaches the height of that.
And I don't know if this is true, but I heard recently that when they started that line, they were like, "Oh, here's like 26 movies or something that we want to do," and then the studio comes back to them and is like, "No, you get like 8." So that's why you get like, it's a Flash movie, but it's also a Justice Society movie. Oh, it's a Supergirl movie, but it's also a Legion movie. Like they're kind of like taking scraps. That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's true, but I buy it.
Yeah, but I think they clearly went the wrong direction with that, if that's what they were going to do. Where maybe they should have just either just abandoned the shared universe thing, or not made as big of a deal out of connectivity, and just go, we don't need to do everything we were going to do. Let's just take the big characters or the best ideas we had and just make 8 movies and call it good. But anyway, I need to go back to that. It's been a while, but I like that enough. I bought the Steelbook.
That movie's really good. We will possibly see it at some point on my list.
Oh, yeah. Well, you and I have talked about it. I know you like it a lot. So that face either meant it's way higher on yours, or it's the next thing that you're gonna say. So we'll see. We'll see what comes up here. But Austin, I'm trying to move a little quicker here. We're 12 minutes in, and we've already done 2. I feel really good about that. What is your 64?
My 64 is Barbarella,
which I've never seen. You're knocking down 2 in a row that I've not seen.
That's going to end. That's not going to happen next time. But still, 2 in a row is good.
I need to finally watch that.
This is maybe showing my hand a little bit, but Barbarella is the greatest female superhero movie ever made. So
don't expect a lot of chicks after this, is what he's saying.
And I wish I could, not say that. If WandaVision were a movie, it would probably make my list. But that's the sad reality of.
And even that still has a male superhero in the title, so.
That is true. Yeah. You win some, you lose some, I guess.
I mean, how many solo female superhero movies are on my list after this? Not much more than you. So yeah.
It's like Catwoman, I know, will probably be on your list at this point.
Well, we all know the movie that'll be on my list that Austin like really vehemently detests, but that's about the only one, I think.
No, exactly.
Plus Powerpuff Girls counts, but that's several and a cartoon. But anyway, I digress. Go ahead.
That is true. Barbarella is a movie that I would describe as being the first and only movie directed by Austin Powers. It starts with that energy, and it rides it the whole way.
The only thing I know about that movie is it's supposed to be insane, and it includes the actor who plays Diabolik.
Oh, okay. I since I haven't seen that, I didn't know that. Robert,
watch it so you still have a chance to put it on your list.
That's true. I'm running out of time.
I know it'll be there if you watch it.
I know, I got to get on that. I'm sorry. No, it's just like a fun adventure movie. Like it's kind of just, it's almost vignette where like she just kind of goes into these little adventures, and then wild things happen, and it's done with the energy of Austin Powers.
I've never heard that movie described that way.
That was all I could think of the entire movie. I'm like, this is what the inside of his brain looks like. But what is your
and did you watch that in preparation for this, or had you seen that before?
No, I watched it in preparation for this.
You watched that instead of Diabolik?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I mean, it made
Come
my
on now.
list.
Yeah, but Diabolic would too. I'm almost positive.
I know.
I'm actually
I gotta get
100%
on it.
positive. There's so much Bond in that movie and in 1968. Like, there's no way. Like, I'm not even a big
Yeah.
Bond guy, and I love that movie. Like,
No,
it's
for
got like
sure.
equal parts Batman and Bond, and then it's a heist movie on top of it. Like, it's all the things you like.
Hmm. I'll get to it. I'll get to it before next time. But that's a
Look, it's got the three
not
B's.
guarantee.
It's
But
got the three B's, Austin. It's got Batman, Bond, and heist.
oh,
I can't think of a B word that is synonymous with stealing things. Anyway, there's
Boofery.
there's a there's a crossword clue in there somewhere. My 64 is Megamind.
Oh, okay, that was a movie I wanted to rewatch before I felt comfortable putting it on my list, and then I didn't get a chance to.
Yeah, it's just really clever, and it's anytime I see a Will Ferrell thing that I like at all, I probably like it even more than I would otherwise, because I don't typically like Will Ferrell in things, but there's 3 or 4 things that I love with Will Ferrell, and that's one of them. And
Yeah, I have the exact same thing.
it is I have the same thing a lot of people do with Jim Carrey. But like, I love Jim Carrey, but there's a lot of people that are like, there's those 2 or 3 movies, and then the rest of it I don't like. I have that with Will Ferrell. But it's a really fun like kind of flip the script on Superman, where it's almost like a Elseworldsy kind of thing, where what if Superman came to Earth and was raised evil and basically became the Lex Luthor, but had superpowers. And it's or no, it isn't that. It's like, see, I've only seen this movie like one time, but I really liked it when I watched it. No,
I really liked it too. I've only seen it once when it came out, and I was like, I
no,
don't
sorry,
know.
it's doing that thing. And now I'm remembering. It's doing that thing where your villain is more is more sympathetic than your hero, and they kind of switch origins. That's what I was remembering with that.
Well, I don't think, and the main hero doesn't fully become the villain. Like he wants to retire. I remember that.
Yeah.
So like it's nice because I feel like we've done that swap a few times. Like that's obviously your like
That's
Dr. Horrible.
That's the Dr. Horrible thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And this predates that, I think, or is it like a year or 2 after that?
I think it's a little bit after that, but I could be wrong.
But I just remember a lot of the dialogue being super clever, and it's kind of like Sky High in that there are some really obvious, like some really clear homages, but it isn't like, besides some Superman stuff, it isn't too one-to-one with anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah,
it carves out,
general.
it does a really good job of carving out its own space. So this is another one of those movies that I'm not remotely prepared to talk about. But I liked a lot when I watched it for a rewind, and I can't remember what I scored that. It was at least a 3, if not 3.5.
Yeah, when it got a really good sequel, I heard.
Yeah, I heard those were dreadful. Because so just recently, that was like, was it a Paramount Plus thing, or it was a streaming thing? And if memory serves, it got like a really crappy sequel movie, and then that was a pilot for a series also.
Yeah, it was the like Disney straight to DVD sequel thing. And I feel like we don't do that anymore. So the fact they did it out of nowhere is really weird. And for
a million years later, and
yeah,
it's like somebody didn't get the memo that all this oversaturation and legacy sequels have not been working for much of anybody. Mm-hmm. Like, there are pockets, every now and again you get a Cobra Kai or something, but you don't get points just for name recognition, and that's literally all that had, because it didn't bring back any cast. And
well, I think that first one's just a cult classic, isn't it? Isn't that part
it's
of
not even like it's massively well known or popular. Yeah, like, I don't even know how well it did at the box office, but it probably didn't do much better than breaking even.
Yeah, it was what I thought, but I wasn't entirely sure.
I'll look that up. I'm not sure.
Thanks, Robert. It's Peacock, not.
Peacock. There you go. But I just remember that movie having some kind of nice twists and turns, and it wasn't totally callable.
Mm-hmm.
and it does that Dr. Horrible thing where your villain as the protagonist is real likable, and you start to kind of root for him. And
Yeah, and I mean everybody loves Minion too.
yes,
And they changed his name, I heard, in the sequel, and the only reason they would have done that is because the Minions became popular after that.
that sucks. But also, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, why would you ever watch that? I know that we try to review every superhero movie.
We do have to do that.
That's not going to happen until I'm a head in a jar.
Until you're 90.
Yeah, exactly. What is the next thing on your list, sir? Oh, 2010.
Yeah, that's about when I thought it was. Because Dr. Horrible's what, 2007?
07, yeah. No,
Yeah.
it did okay at the box office.
Okay.
Its budget was 130 and it brought in 321. So it did
It
better than
did well
breaking
enough,
even.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you've had this one yet. I assume it's probably higher on your list, but my 60.
So, sorry, real quick. So that means that came out the same year as Kick-Ass.
Yes.
So that was in that period where we were starting to get a lot more saturation with superhero movies, and we were thinking of it as like superheroes are starting to look like a gold mine and everybody's trying to put one out, but then that really blows up a few years after that.
Well, and that's the same year as Iron Man 2.
Yeah, Iron Man 2. It's the year after Watchmen. It's the year before Green Hornet. Like, you're seeing a lot of companies pumping out stuff they have the rights to properties of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. My number 63 is The Rocketeer. The Rocketeer is a fun, pulpy action movie.
I'm looking to see where it is on my list. I can't remember if I've said it already or if
I was like, part of me was like,
no,
did you say it already? I don't think so.
No, I haven't said it yet.
I didn't think so. I assumed this would be higher on your list.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm giving away too much by saying it's there.
Yeah. No, I figured it would be.
Everybody knows I like that movie, but yeah, go ahead.
I do feel like I went into The Rocketeer expecting to love it a little bit more than I did, but not in like the Phantom way where I was like, oh, I'm probably gonna really like this, and then I didn't at all. It's a fun movie. I don't think it's anything amazing or anything, but like it's a fun adventure film. Like it is very much a good time, and all the actors are really good in it. The effects are really good in it. I do think, because it's Joe Johnston, I do think it is a better effort than his first Captain America movie, or his only Captain America movie, but the first Captain America movie in the MCU.
Yeah, it's got more of its own sense of style, and I think
exactly
it does a really good job of feeling, at least to some degree, like a movie made in the period that it's set in.
Mm-hmm.
It does a really good job of that.
Yeah, I think it would probably be higher on my list if I saw it as a kid. I think the fact that I came to it now, preparing for this list, maybe hurt it with staying with me, as opposed to like if I saw it as a kid. If I watched this growing up, it would have been the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, because I mean
yeah.
that once again tickles like some Indiana Jones sensibilities and.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. No, and Timothy Dalton's really good as the villain.
Yeah. I think what a lot of people latch onto with that movie is all the kind of tongue-in-cheek Hollywood stuff.
Yeah, no, and all that's really good.
And the villain is just who are they riffing on with that? Howard Hughes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Which we then do again with Tony Stark's dad in MCU.
Yeah,
so that's kind of interesting.
He's like a mix of that, and he's also very Walt Disney.
He's Walt Disney. Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. No, and like you get the little animation thing where it shows their plan, where it's like all the Nazis flying around with their Rocketeer packs, and all that's really fun.
Oh yeah, I forgot about it. There's that cool montage, or not montage, but there's that cool like animation.
Yeah, and then Ant-Man does that with Yellow Jacket, and it's not as cool.
And they probably ripped it off from that. Yeah,
100%.
It's weird how kind of iconic that movie is, at least with people that know it. Like, that is, like we were saying with Megamind, probably cult classic status and not any more than that. But like the people that like it see it as a bigger deal than that, if that
I
makes any
feel like
sense.
that's kind of Joe Johnston's career in a way. Like I feel like he's a very solid director, um, but like a lot of his movies, I think, kind of fall into that. Like Jurassic Park 3, I would say, is the same way. Um, I think there's a little bit of that with his Wolfman movie that we did on Request.
Oh,
Uh,
I forgot that was him. Yeah.
yeah, First Avenger to a degree, 'cause I think, especially after the second, like the sequels, I feel like it's kind of buried at
It gets
this
eclipsed a
point.
little bit.
hmm It's like I don't know. I feel like that's kind of his career. He's like the working class cult classic guy.
Oh, and I would also be remiss if we didn't mention Alan Arkin is really good in that movie too.
hmm I mean, Alan Arkin's always great. Absolutely,
He could show up later. That's entirely possible
it's entirely possible.
in a movie that no one but us has seen. But we'll
Yep.
see. We'll see what happens. It's possible. My 63, is that where we're at? Is
Yes.
a movie that Austin will not agree with because he and I just had
Uh-oh.
this conversation a week or two ago, and I was like,
Oh, I know
"This is a
exactly.
good movie," and Austin's like, "Yeah, that movie's boring. I don't like that movie." My 63 is Big Hero 6, which is a difficult thing to rank for me because I primarily, like I've said before, and I don't mean to keep repeating myself, went with things with the order that I put stuff in. What I like would most likely feel like putting in the player as much as what I think are just like really good superhero narratives. So ranking this is different than I than ranking based on narrative quality on like a superhero rewind ranking list. That's why we put favorite in the title with this. But this movie is like I still appreciate it enough to put it this high, but I can't go any higher than that because I don't actually think to go back and rewatch this. But I came to appreciate it a lot more when I wrote a rewind for it, and so it's I and so it's a really difficult movie to rank.
I also feel like that movie is kind of like the first X-Men if it didn't get a sequel. Like I do feel like it's kind of one of those setting up things in order to like, and then in the next movie you just know who all these characters are and we can kind of go off a little bit more. It's telling a better story probably at the end of the day than the first
I was gonna
X-Men,
say because
but I do feel like it has some of that energy.
yeah, and I totally get why you're saying that. I never felt that way about it.
Mhm.
I think that I do think the story is better than that. I feel like there's a character study there that almost makes me not even need sequels. I My big issue with that movie has always been I just don't care about the supporting cast, and it's a team movie, and it's their name in it, which is why I don't really see it as much of it as a setup thing. Now, you obviously, and they did in a TV show, because weirdly they opted to not make sequels to that, and they did all their sequel material in a relatively popular cartoon show that then got a Baymax sequel. So like, there's a whole universe of stuff with that that I've not looked at much, but I've seen a little bit of that show and it's decent. But anyway, obviously you could do a sequel that focused on one or more of the supporting team members, and it wasn't as much about Hero, but I just like the sibling story in that, and I was kind of surprised by the choice to make kind of I like the chip in Baymax, the metaphor for the soul, the way that's handled, and not do it in the Asimovian way, which is kind of what you'd expect with the question of like, oh, is Baymax going to turn out to be self-aware? Oh, it turns out he was his brother all the time. Like that always worked for me, and even more so when I started writing about it. So it's one of those movies that I maybe appreciate more on paper than I do even as like a fun experience. But I do think the animation in that is pretty good.
Oh,
I
I mean,
like
it's got good animation,
I
absolutely.
like the world. The whole like Sanford Tokyo thing is fun, or whatever that Sanford Tokyo, I think. And all the robot fighting and what we do with nanites in that is neat. It's not a great villain or anything.
No, I mean, I agree. Like, I think the brother stuff is done pretty well, and then everything else kind of is lacking. Which is part of why I was thinking of the like kind of setup film thing. Um,
People are giving me crap in the comments for putting this under Megamind.
I
And
think Big Hero 6 is controversial, not in like a ooh, like I really hate it or I really love it, but in like a place where people are kind of like on it. I feel like it kind of has that energy. I don't know.
no, the argument isn't is it bad or good, is it fine or really good? Like that's kind of the argument.
Or like I was thinking more like fine or like not great. Like it's like somewhere in there. But
Sure.
like
Well, there are people that like it a lot though.
yeah, that's true.
But I don't know. I think that's a really endearing movie, and I think part of the reason I like it as much as I do, I guess, is because I have kids and I saw it through that lens. So like, Megamind maybe tops it if I had grown up with that movie. Big Hero 6 obviously comes out when I have kids already, and so I'm again looking at it through that lens, and it feels like the kind of uh, like classic family cartoon movie and superhero thing that we don't make a lot outside of Pixar. And like I realize it's still Disney and it's not necessarily even to like the best of some of the earlier Pixar movies, but it's close enough to that level to me, storytelling wise.
Yeah, for sure. And for me, like it's right in the middle of a period where I think Disney became very just very bland. Like I wouldn't say Big Hero 6 is bad. I think it's more so just like
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like I said, I had that a little bit in the theater, and then writing about it, I was like, nah, this is better than I gave it credit for.
mhm.
There may be other things
Yeah.
on my list that I have that a little bit with too that we haven't gotten to yet. Uh,
It'll be Long Halloween.
but like I said, it's almost more of like an appreciation and a fondness thinking about what that story's about than it is even like an experience I want to have. So in that way, maybe it should have been a little bit lower.
I mean, you feel the way you feel. It's not.
But I put it right next to Megamind because I have the same thing with that too, where I've never thought to go back to it.
But you put Big Hero 6 over Wong.
Over Wong, what do you mean?
Oh, I was doing a callback to when we did the Marvel ranking list. So that was
Oh,
like a
okay.
big joke by the end. Is like, really, this character over
Oh
Wong?
yeah, good call. Okay. What is your 62?
Okay, I have to ask you a question before I reveal it.
Why do you want to change it like right now?
No, I just have a question for you.
Oh, all right.
That's right. Do you, in fact, Cap,
Shiv.
know what killed the dinosaurs?
Oh man, the Ice Age. I thought
The
this would,
Ice Age.
I thought this would be higher on your list.
My 62 is Batman and Robin.
People are gonna give you some crap for how high this is over some other things, but honestly, I thought this was gonna be higher
That's fair.
for
I
you.
feel like so. There's an argument for it to be higher. This is a place where I went, okay, but like actual quality wise, like let's maybe kind of even it out a little bit. Um, I maybe in my heart it is the best of the '90s Batman films. I don't know if I felt super right putting it above them at the end of the day.
Sure.
So
Well,
it
I can tell that with you, there's always kind of this push and pull of how much of some of what you like is it an ironic like I don't think you always even know if you're ironically appreciating a thing or not.
I don't know, but so my big thing with Batman and Robin, because people ask about it all the time, is the '90s Batman films all live and die based on the villains and like how much you appreciate what they're doing. And I think Mr. Freeze is really fun, and I think Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy is like genuinely amazing and is like the unsung hero of that movie. And then I don't like bands, so it's like the only band I like. So like that kind of holds it up. And yes, everything around it is awful, 100%. That stuff is more like I like it ironically. Like I like Batgirl more ironically.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think like the villains know exactly what they are, and like I said, in all four of those movies, they live and die on that. So it just kind of plays into that, I think.
Yeah, and there is yeah, I think because that movie is rushed and because people didn't care for Clooney and because of ice puns and, on and on and on, that movie is obviously, lambasted compared to Forever. I like Forever. Austin doesn't care for that movie. But there is the argument to be made that if you lifted the villains from Batman and Robin and put them with the rest of the material for Forever, that might improve that movie in some ways.
I definitely feel that, yeah.
And I really like Jim Carrey as the Riddler, but it's not like he has a whole lot to work with. And Two-Face is just kind of nothing in that. And
Well,
I said, it's funny that you're actually with me on this, because I said a million years ago now that Uma Thurman, like I put her in my like top casting list, and people thought I was crazy just for putting anything from Batman. Right? I was like, well,
she's great though.
well, but forget about the material and just think about the choice. Like, no, she's right for that character. Like, whatever you think about what they did with her.
I also don't think Arnold's a bad choice for Mr. Freeze, and I think a lot of people don't agree with that. But I look at something like the animated series, and like he's very Terminator-y. Like you write that the right way and you direct him the right way,
Yeah,
he would have been a fine Mr. Freeze, I think.
he just should have been allowed to actually play it colder, which all he has to do is come in and basically do his Terminator performance, and you're done.
Exactly, yeah. Like already right there, you have a better Mr. Freeze. But I do think it entirely relies on his charisma as Arnold, and
Yeah.
I like Arnold a lot. Like he's a lot of fun. While with Batman Forever, it's Jim Carrey playing Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones playing Jim Carrey. So like their kind of back and forth doesn't work for me. But then Arnold is doing his thing and Uma Thurman is doing her thing, and like they play off each other a lot better.
Yeah, and weirdly, arguably, maybe not even arguably, like of the three pairs of villains that you get in those movies, those are the two that actually kind of function together, like both with
They shouldn't, but they do.
both chemistry wise and also narratively,
Mm.
because we actually kind of, as hokey and by the way, this movie did not make my list.
I
But
didn't think it would.
but as hokey and like, what's the word I'm looking for? Just shallow as it's handled, because that whole thing's a cartoon. They actually kind of do something with the themes of the two characters in like ice and plants, and you don't have like I guess Batman Returns kind of does that a little bit with like a literal like cat and bird thing, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Kind of.
But Batman and Robin kind of does more with that.
No, and I will die on the hill that Batman and Robin is the most quotable of the '90s Batman movies. Maybe even just Batman movies in general. But it's very quotable.
Yeah, I mean, because it's kids playing with action figures.
Exactly. And there's so many just things that I say, like when I'm walking around, like something will go wrong and I'll be like, curses! Or something like that. Or like I walk into a room and I'm like, oh, cool party.
Yeah, I just like randomly saying bomb for no reason.
You shouldn't say that at the airport, though. Believe me, I know.
Oh yeah, I gotta quit. I gotta quit doing that.
Don't walk in and go, bomb.
No, people have come around on that.
Yeah, I think
ironically, and I think personally, I feel like some of the like new love for that movie is kind of overblown because it was popular to hate it, so now it's becoming popular to like it.
And actually, I should say, sorry, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Oh yeah, just real quick. The thing I've always kind of pushed back on a little bit is no, look, like it's fun as a parody. They just went to the full on self parody place, and they basically made a '60s Batman movie. I'm like, as a '60s Batman movie, it's not very good. Like the satire is not there. Like it's kind of generic as a comedy. Like there's some like little details, like things here and there that are funny if you can take it on its own terms and be cool with the context of it. Like the Bat credit card thing, which is infamous, but in a '60s Batman movie, that's kind of a fun gag. You see what I'm saying? And then like the way John Glover's character dies and stuff like that. Like there's fun bits in it. But then the love potion plot and Batman and Robin being turned against each other because they're both under an influence going after the female villain and all of that, and just the way the sexual innuendo is handled, it's not clever like '60s Batman, so it doesn't work on that level.
No, for sure. And what I was going to say is, I think it's been appreciated by some people. I think it's kind of split down the middle. You have some people that have come to it and are like, it's not that bad. And then there's other people that have, I think, gone back on Forever, where now it's both Schumacher films are awful.
Yeah,
I remember hearing that
true.
a lot when Schumacher died. Was people being like, oh, like this guy, like he killed Batman. And I'm like, I don't think it's fair that his legacy gets to be that he ruined Batman, but that's whatever.
No, it's not. Well, and I'll split hairs with you for just a second before we move on and say that, no, you're right. But I think what happens is people that actually, I'm oversimplifying when I say this, but I think that fans that actually know the difference between them, a lot of them have turned around a little bit on Batman and Robin, particularly because we've had a lot more variety of Batman movies since then, so you can kind of pick your poison now. So Batman and Robin's not as big of a deal now because it didn't ultimately kill the franchise. We came back with the Nolan movies, now we've got the Batman, etc. And so it's sort of like the '60s show. There were people that hated that at the time because we weren't getting a serious Batman, but now we've got variety, and so it's not as big of a deal. But I think a lot of the people that hate both movies don't know the difference between them. Like, I still hear people that bring up things from Batman and Robin as fire to throw at Forever. They don't know which is which. They think both movies are Batman and Robin. Like, they don't know the difference.
Well, and there's things that both of them have that people have dogged Batman and Robin at more.
Yeah.
Because
people always go, the bat nipples. I'm like, that was there in the first
forever.
place.
Yeah, it's like, why is it only that one?
Why is it a problem for Batman and Robin that he already had that?
It's a problem that there's no equal opportunity and Batgirl doesn't have them, really. That's just sexist.
I don't think you could say that on this channel.
I'm fighting for gender equality. It's okay.
Okay, well, we'll be able to move on right after I mention my next one, Austin. And once again, we got hella close. My 62 is the Rocketeer.
Oh, we are really close.
That is the third time that's happened.
That's crazy. We might also be close with another thing, but we'll see.
Oh, cool. I think we have one that was exactly the same. But
yeah, it was Hellboy.
We had two now that were really super close together. What is your 61?
My 61 is Superman, Man of Tomorrow.
Oh, wow. See, that I knew that face meant either it was coming up tonight or it was like in your top 20 or something.
Yeah, and I wasn't looking at the exact number, so I'm like, oh, is it just going to be short and like it will come up next time? So we don't really have to talk anymore about that.
Well, I did most of the talking with that. I mean, like, does it make your list for similar reasons or?
Yeah, exactly. No, I think it's just a really good Superman origin. My big thing that I've said since that movie came out is my favorite thing will always be Parasite becomes Godzilla and he talks Godzilla down because he's Superman. It's so good. Lobo's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
It's a good time all around. You could have taken that movie, added like 20 minutes because there are parts where it's a little rushed. Done in live action, and that could have been your DCEU Superman movie easy. What is your 61?
Real quick, I'll also just say the
Yeah.
timing of that was really important because we just did not have a lot of like good, like honest to god Superman appreciation in Superman stuff right then. That was like the height of evil Superman.
What's that?
I
And it's the first movie out of the New 52 continuity.
Yep.
So it's like, oh, I forgot these movies can be good.
But then just a little while after that, we finally get like Superman and Lois, which kind of does that, and then more recently, of course, My Adventures with Superman. So like, there's a lot
Yeah,
of options for things that feel like real Superman again.
the tables were turning. Absolutely.
Yep, and that's kind of where that starts.
Yep. It sparked the fire that burned down the First Order.
Austin, my 61 is Wonder Woman. What's your 60?
No, 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 no. You gotta explain. You gotta talk about it, sir.
So, Austin and I have always been in disagreement with this because Austin is a Wonder Woman fan and I'm not. So he already has a bias and you know preconception about what that character should look like. He has feelings about this, which is perfectly valid and cool, and I wish I grew up caring about that character. I didn't have like my version of that. And Wonder Woman is a character, to be fair, that is reinvented as much or more than anybody else in comics, like of major characters. There has not been a definitive version for a lot of us, which is unfortunate. And that movie made me, at least um for the context of that movie, it made me appreciate that character. And having read some more stuff since then, I totally agree with you that that's not exactly what she ought to be. And I get the complaint about like making too big of a deal out of the sword over the lasso, and um like the way the war stuff is handled and all of that. For me at the time, a lot of it, and that is a movie that I've gone back to a few times and I still enjoy, even though I think the third act really falls apart, and it did in the theater too. But I still it still didn't ruin it for me. God, that Aries speech at the end should, but it didn't totally ruin it for me because of just the time and place and when that happened. Cause I was so kind of down in the dumps with what was happening with DCEU that just part of it was two things. Part of it was going to the theater and seeing a movie in that continuity after the particularly the two more recently that were awful and didn't make any sense, with BVS and Suicide Squad respectively, that I just knew what was happening. Like I just follow the freaking story. Like I really appreciated that. My head didn't explode watching it. It felt like a movie. Like it felt like an actual narrative. And then it starts to get some of that Snyder energy by the end, unfortunately. But the second thing is, and Austin won't agree with this, but Gal Gadot really did surprise me with that, and was not the casting I wanted. Is not a great actress. I bought her performance a lot more than I thought I would, and I really liked her chemistry with Pine, and I thought the romance was written really well, and I appreciated that they allowed it to be an honest-to-God romance. It's taken too far past that, obviously, with her just, but this is Snyder's fault more than anything, with her just like, quitting everything because she's pining away for
You
Steve
had the
Trevor.
same take on all three.
Yeah, I know it sucks. Like that whole
It's
thing is
wild.
obnoxious. You can't blame Patty Jenkins for that part of it. She was kind of just stuck with that.
Yeah,
But
no, absolutely.
but it is stupid nevertheless. I liked the kind of Christopher Reeve energy of it. I liked the ways in which she was going back to Donner. I thought it was derivative in the right way, in the right kind of ways. And it's fun enough to me. I don't know.
I'm just letting you talk. You're good.
But
I
anyway,
like it. That's fine. I
that's
actually thought it would be a lot higher on your
that's why
list.
that's why
I'm
it's there.
surprised that it's that low.
Um, yeah, I mean, that third act is really pretty rough.
The third act's rough.
I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of it. And I don't appreciate it as much now as I did then, just because again, just putting it in perspective, it was competent, and that was a big deal.
Yeah, for sure.
But Jareth Gearhart, Wonder Woman, that low cap, yeah, I don't love it as much as I used to. And this isn't fair. 84 maybe hurt it a little bit.
I mean, I understand that.
I don't know if that's fair. I mean, there are totally different things. The nice thing is, like, you can separate them really easily. You know, you can watch one without really thinking too much about the other.
It helps that they're like completely separated, both in story, with the exception of the Steve thing. But like we're in different decades. Those movies look different.
Yeah. But I think I had, to a much smaller degree, like this is much more of a minor thing with these, but I had a little bit of the same thing that I did with Man of Steel going into BVS, where I feel like I gave some of the directing choices like too much credit with Man of Steel, where the seams were showing after I saw BVS and I went back to Man of Steel. To a much smaller degree, I have that with 84 going back to Wonder Woman.
Yeah. No, because I do think they are like slightly differently directed. Like I think there's more Snyder influence, like especially in how they use like slow mo and stuff.
Yes, and I don't like that stuff.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, absolutely.
But it does just kind of underscore like little issues that I had already, where I'm like, oh, this is kind of a bigger deal to me now. I didn't realize how much of this was here. If that makes any sense. It's subjective. Like, it's not fair. It's just how I feel about it.
Absolutely. And I was nice. I let you say a piece about Wonder Woman.
Well, thanks, man.
You're welcome. We've hit 5, so I don't know if you want to keep going. I think we've moved a little faster than we normally do.
We did move a little faster. I don't know if you want to like mess up the count where we have to start in a weird place next time, because I'm not going to be able to go much further than an hour tonight.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really bother me, like the nice clean 5s or 10s. So it's up to you.
Yeah. Let's see if we can knock a couple more out.
Okay.
Might as well round this off at least an hour, maybe an hour 10 or 15. What is your 60? God, I am really questioning some of the placement with this. I kind of want to put this... my 60, I kind of want to put higher.
So...
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
My 60 is...
Let's go ahead and stop now. Good night, everybody. No, go ahead.
My 60 is going to be way higher on your list. My number 60 is Batman 89. Which is a movie that I like quite a bit. The story's a bit of a mess, but it's all an enjoyable atmosphere. Jack Nicholson's always just been Jack Nicholson to me as the Joker, but I don't dislike him. Like, he's fine. He's not Joker to me, but I do like him in that movie because I like Jack Nicholson. Michael Keaton, of course, is a great Batman. And it's Batman 89. It's a good movie at the end of the day.
I was just letting you say your piece about Batman 89, Austin.
No, because you're like, why isn't it number 1?
No, not at all. If that movie was not like a huge foundational thing of My Chemical Makeup, I can't begin to tell you where it would land on my list.
No, absolutely.
Like, I can't like, it's DNA, it's encoded. Like, I don't know.
We all have things like that.
Yeah, I don't know how to take that out. Like, I'm not here doing this without that movie, and everybody knows that.
Yeah.
You know, we're doing a Wayne's World commentary. This is going to date this tomorrow night with Connor, and I almost pitched doing another 89 commentary. I almost because he hasn't done one with me yet.
And then I would watch Wayne's World while you guys watch 89.
No, you have to finally actually watch it with us, Austin.
No, but if I watch something different, that gives you another excuse to do another 89 commentary down the road where I actually watch it.
Yeah, actually, I'm not going to invite you to an 89 commentary until you're with me in person, and I can make sure you're looking at what I'm looking at.
And I'm gonna splice the footage. So it's gonna start, and then it's like bam, and then it flips, and it's Big Trouble in Little China. And I don't know why I just did the Donner Superman theme. That's not the theme to Batman. But anyways,
No, I am. No. I think your placement of 89 is totally respectable. I appreciate that it's not in your bottom 20.
yeah.
Because I know you like Returns more than it, just as a fun experience. So I just really appreciate that it didn't wind up in your bottom 20. That makes me happy.
And I was nice enough to put it over Batman and Robin, even though in my heart, Batman and Robin is a little better.
No, thanks for doing that. I know you were just trying not to get fired.
I mean, Batman '89 is a better movie than Batman and Robin, but
I also, yeah, like almost objectively,
like almost objective.
I also wanted to remain friends with you, which might be part of why Wonder Woman is not any higher than on. No, I'm kidding. Okay, I don't feel good about my 60, Austin.
Uh-oh. It's Batman '89.
No, it's not. God, these. I would say this. It's arbitrary. It's so difficult to decide where these things should go. If I had this to do over again, it's probably like 10 higher than this.
Bump it up 10 higher. No one will know.
Well, but they will, because then I have to fudge my numbers in my head because I'm not like gonna rearrange it while we're sitting here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't have time to do that. So it's like, do I go ahead and say the next thing, or do I just kind of fudge it? You know what I mean?
I'm getting nervous now.
My 60 as written here. I want to at least,
bad.
I want to at least flip it with the next thing, because I don't even think I like the next movie as much as this one. I'm not sure why I'm not sure why it's here this way. I'm just gonna read it as it is. Whatever.
The hair is literally standing up my back right now.
I'm
gonna
nervous. Say it as I have it, and then I'm gonna say kind of like I did with the Two-Face thing. I don't like where it is. This isn't really where it should go. But my 60 as written is Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, okay.
But I kind of want it higher than that.
I mean, that's also fair.
Because we just reviewed that recently, so I'm not going to get too deep into this. And Austin doesn't have some of the same issues I have with it. But I think I enjoy it as much as Austin does, like as an experience. Like, as we're talking about it, and I'm lobbing critical grenades at it, because that's the job. I'm more critical of it than Austin is, but as a thing that I would put in and sit back and enjoy, I like it every bit as much as Austin does.
Yeah, and I will say that went up a little bit on my list after we did that rewind.
Yeah. And with some of the things I was being critical of, it probably would have gone a little bit further down my list if it weren't for the things that I just think are so much fun with it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. It's that kind of a movie. Absolutely. The script in that is a mess. We talked about that.
I was going to say, I'm also convinced that if Raimi had 6 more months, it probably goes up a whole notch, if not more. You know what I mean? Like that probably, because I think I ranked it hero, and I didn't feel great about that, but just on a narrative level with everything I was talking about, I couldn't quite get to superhero. You give Raimi 6 more months, it goes up to superhero in my book.
Absolutely. Yeah, I hope that rumor is true that he is in fact doing the third one.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, I'm a little worried because it was saying that Denzel Washington's going to play Dormammu, and there's a part of me that's like, I hope they're not recasting him so that he can be in a human form through most of the movie.
You know that's what's happening. There's no way Denzel Washington comes in just to do a voice.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like, there's that part of me that's like, oh, I think he's good casting, but I don't want that. But we'll see. I don't know.
But to be fair, I mean, Dormammu has had human forms and things.
I don't want it. I want Dormammu, sir. I want him more.
I don't disagree with you. But I'm also not surprised that they're doing that.
Dormammu looked so good. They even did the ripple thing.
I know. I mean, I'm a little surprised by the casting, but I'm not surprised that they would cast an actor to actually stand there.
Yeah. And I mean, that's probably not true, but I also think that's good casting. I would want that to be true.
Real quick, a lot of what I enjoy about Multiverse of Madness is America Chavez, because I was so shocked by how much I liked her, because I've never cared for that character, and she's one of my favorite new MCU characters now. And I might be on an island with that. I thought that actress was great. I thought she did a really good job.
We're like the only people that like her.
I really like her. Whatever, I don't care. Jason, Jason likes. Jason and I were having this conversation the other day, and he was like, they should make a America Chavez Marvel game that's just single player and just her, because with her power you just jump different Marvel universes and you can use absolutely everybody in different versions of them, but you're only playing as Chavez. I'm like, that sounds great. That could be a really cool game.
We'll be the only two people that buy it.
That's right.
And just bring that actress back. I'm sure she'll do it.
But I love
she
that
goes to every Marvel premiere and she's been in one movie.
It's the best Wong stuff. I love zombie Strange at the end.
No, he's so much fun.
It's really fun.
He gets to deliver a heartfelt speech with like half of his jaw burned off.
It's so
like the
good.
most Raimi thing ever, yeah.
Austin, we're right at an hour. We did one extra one. Let's go ahead and call it tonight.
Oh, but my next one fits so well with my previous one.
Do you want to go ahead and do it?
No, it's fine.
We can real quick, if you really want to. I don't know if how long my next one is gonna take. But I don't think it'll be real long. But
it's up to you. It doesn't bother me.
I also just don't love that I put it over Multiverse of Madness, at least for enjoyment.
But now I want to know.
Well, we can do it real quick. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, and I also don't have a ton to say about my next one. My 59 is Batman Returns.
Oh, is it really?
I put them back to back because I talked about this when we did Batman Returns. These movies are so just the same thing for me. I'm like, they're about the same. I'll put Returns a little bit more because that's just how I felt off that last rewind.
Did you put 3 Batman movies back to back to back, or was there one?
No, Man of Tomorrow.
Man of Tomorrow. That's what it was.
Batman and Robin.
It would have been so funny if you put all 3 of those there, and then I know Forever won't be on your list. It would have been so funny if they were all.
Well, and that's the other thing is I think of the 3 I like, they're all around the same. Like I like them all about the same.
And the only one of those that I've already brought up is Returns. And and Robin won't be on my list.
Yeah, no. But the other 2 will be way higher on your list. They'll be in your top 10.
Well, I can't confirm or deny.
That just means they are.
Well, I mean, we can be sure one of them is pretty high. The other one, I can't confirm or deny how high it will be.
Well, we already know that Iron Man 2 is your number 1, so 89 has to be 2. And then Forever was probably like 7.
So real quick, my 59, I had kind of the same problem that I did with Big Hero 6 in that it's not a movie that I'm chomping at the bit to go back to, but I gave it really high marks with the rewind, and I think about it kind of fondly, although I went overboard. This is one of the few rewinds I kind of regretted the script on a little bit, because I think I latched onto a couple things and I just went really overboard with the analysis, and I think I overly praised it.
See, I thought you were going to say it's one of the rewinds that we did, so I was like racking my brain through it, but no,
no,
it's a scripted one.
No, old scripted ones, yeah, and it's the Wolverine.
Oh, okay. I will say though, the opening. What, like 20 minutes? Like all the stuff with the bear?
No, I know you really like how that opens.
That is like the definitive like peak Wolverine on film that we never did better than. But like the rest of that movie I think is just kind of mediocre. But sorry, go ahead.
And that's fair. It's again, some of it is kind of on paper stuff. I like I like all the thematic stuff about mortality with that movie. I like the decisions made with who the villain turns out to be, and the Silver Samurai stuff just ends up feeling kind of hokey by the end. Like,
it's got that Wonder Woman issue where it falls apart a little bit in the third act. No, I don't think as bad.
And I've never felt as strongly about it as other people do, but the last time I watched it, I had that a lot harder than I had before. I think the Japanese cast is really good. I like Yuriko a lot. Like, I think everybody's pretty good. Or not Yuriko. Who is it? I can't remember character names with that. All of a sudden, but he's kind of sidekick in that. The girl that they take off the street and have work for the Yoshida, she's really good. The girl that comes and recruits him to go to Japan.
Yeah, she is really good in that. You have Japanese Hawkeye.
Yeah, he's cool. The train fight is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the effects are maybe a little dodgy, but it was also really ambitious. So like, I give some of that a little bit of a pass. That stuff's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yumiko, that's her name.
Yeah, there it is. I just rewatched that too, not that long ago. That's not a movie that sticks with me super well, though.
No, I kind of have that with it too, and I actually started to rewatch that for this because I couldn't decide where to rank it, and something came up and I couldn't finish it, so it didn't help the ranking with this because I only got about half an hour in.
See, but I feel like everyone in the chat's like, "No, you dummy."
Yukio, thank you, Robert.
I feel like everyone in the chat's probably like, "No, you dummy. The Wolverine is way better than Doctor Strange too." And we're both like, "Is it though?"
I think narratively it probably is at the end of the day, but like, which of those is more fun for me to sit down and watch? Like, it's still Doctor Strange, which is why I wasn't sure about putting the Wolverine over it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a step up from the first Wolverine.
It's just the weirdest trilogy of all time.
Yeah, and I mean the same director made the last two, and even though it's kind of weird,
that's why it's so weird. Is the same director made two of them, and somehow none of them are in the same continuity, or at least don't feel like they are. It's very strange. And then we have now a fourth movie with Wolverine in the title that also is not exactly in any of those continuities. Even though it sort of pretends like it's in Logan's, but I don't see how, so whatever. But anyway.
No, as a trilogy, it's like if the Star Wars trilogy was A New Hope, Attack of the Clones, and Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, but at least those are still all ostensibly in the same timeline.
I guess, yeah. I guess that's true.
Like, no, I can't think of anything that really compares to that.
Yeah.
It's real strange.
No, I think it really just is the only trilogy where, I mean, I guess people argue about First Class, Origins and the Wolverine, and that, like, they're probably technically the same continuity, but
right.
like,
yeah, technically
they also feel so devoid from each other.
But it felt like almost officially retconned Origins by that point.
Mm-hmm. They'd kind of already said, "Hey, we know that sucked."
And it feels like a do-over because the Japanese stuff is what that director wanted to make in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
When they made Origins.
No, I actually think it's fitting that the Wolverine and Big Hero 6 are so close to each other on your list, because I feel like they exist in like a similar place where, like,
yeah, it's the only thing they have in common.
Exactly, it's the one thing they've got.
Nobody talks about them. People, if they saw them and you mention it, go, "Oh, I guess that was all right." Like, we're getting that a lot in the comments right now. Like,
good, yeah.
I guess I liked that. I never think about that. I've never gone back to it.
They both like Breakfast at Tiffany's. It's just, that's all they really have in common.
It's the one thing they've got.
Yep.
They're not even both movies made by Disney.
No, but they are both things adapting Marvel. I guess that's the other thing.
They have that. Well, anyway, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Sure appreciate it. I was Captain Logan. This was Austin. We'll be back again probably next week for another one of these. And we got 6 this time. Isn't that exciting?
I know, isn't that crazy? No, 7.
Did we do 7?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm doubly proud of us, Austin.
Mm-hmm.
For two extra ones.
3 short of 10. And the Batman thing might continue moving forward. Who knows?
Oh man, I'm gonna look and see when I have another Batman movie, because it won't be shocking for people to know that with the sheer number of Batman movies there will be more of those on my list. It won't be too long. You'll just have to guess which one. Well, anyway,
Batman Begins probably didn't break your 50, so it's probably next.
That's probably what you're gonna see next. My mind has changed a lot about things, you know. Like Wonder Woman and Batman Begins, I'm feeling about the same way about. They both dropped a little bit in my interest.
You're like, I like movies that are just about things happening, not them beginning. So like, it kind of knocks it down a little.
Yeah, I did my ranking based on the titles of things, and Batman Begins is dumb title, so it drops real far.
I mean, if we're ranking it based on titles, Begins probably doesn't make it.
Probably not. We should make that list. That sounds like a really funny list. And like not actually talk about them, just read it down real quick. It's like the 50 best titles.
Exactly. I think it's real weird when it's just like Spider-Man, Batman. It's like, they didn't really have to complicate it,
Short and sweet. They didn't reinvent the wheel. They didn't have to start adding monikers. Amazing Spider-Man, fine. Amazing Spider-Man 2, you don't make the list. Not because you suck, but because who thought 2 at the end of that was a good idea?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Or like Superman the movie. Really? Couldn't have just been Superman? I don't know.
Yeah, the Batman 66 movie has the same problem. That is Batman the movie.
Exactly, yeah.
I didn't know if you were aware of that, Austin.
No, I know that's not making the list either, just because of that. Get the movies out of here. We know it's a movie.
That's why we're in a movie theater watching it.
Also, why is it not Superman a movie? Why is it Superman the movie? We made more.
Yeah, there might be more. You have to assume Minecraft is going to be like an 8-movie franchise.
Yeah, why is it not Superman
a Minecraft movie?
Why is it not Superman the movie 2? Or the second movie?
That's true. It's not. It's just Superman 2.
It's just Superman 2. It's Superman II.
No, I actually have a theory as to why they did that.
Why is that?
It's almost an apologetic title where like they were so concerned that people would not take that seriously, because I know it's hard to go back to 1977 or 78 and imagine that there was a time when people just like couldn't imagine you'd take something like that seriously. But it obviously it almost didn't get made because of this. And things getting movies, we were in that period where that legitimized stuff. So like the word "the movie" had to be in it to say this is a real film. Like it's not a cartoon.
No, exactly. They should do that with the DCU to really sell. Like, don't worry, this will be like the great female superhero movie. If it was Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, the movie.
The name of that studio is DC Films, right? So they should all be a film or the film.
I think it's DC Studios, but I still stand by that. It should be the film. I agree.
Maybe they changed it because I think at one point it was DC Films. Was it
That'd
not?
be way worse because film just makes it sound like 2% more pretentious than the movie.
Maybe I'm wrong. I thought at least at some point that was called DC. Maybe it is DC Studios.
Yeah. No,
I don't even know the name of the studio. I'm so fake. Anyway, Connor says, okay, but hi Connor. But Connor's coming to my house tomorrow. But the movie is only marketing. The title card only says Superman. That's true.
Yeah, but I think at this point everyone just calls it the movie.
But he's saying that's why Superman 2 is not a weird title.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or I think that's why he's saying that, because when I'm putting words in his mouth, because when you get the opening titles, when you get the credits, it is just Superman. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you again next time. I was Captain Logan. This was Austin. Hope to see you tomorrow night. Bye, folks.